Now, when you came back to Butte to go to beauty school, where did you go to beauty school?
Madam Lewis's beauty college.
Where was that at?
It was in the Mayor building up on Park in Montana.
And where did you live then?
Well, of course, the first few weeks I lived at the home till I got kidnapped. and then Mrs. Lewis had moved what had been a sandwich wagon at the shanty. She had moved it out behind her house. And so she said she'd rent it to me, and she put a bed and a stove in there. But I didn't have running water, didn't have nothing. And it was, no heat. I don't know what it would have been like in the winter, but it was going to be rough, I can see that. So I stayed there a little while, and then my friend, who was Norma Woods at the time, Norma Nally, she was running the lunch counter at the shanty. This was after they had put one in next door to the bar. And so I lived with her. She had been a friend of the family's for many years, my uncle and my mother and so on. She was from Livingston originally.
So you lived in the shanty then?
No, we lived at the Ansonia Hotel.
Oh.
Up on Park. We had it was a non-housekeeping apartment, it was just living room, bedroom, and bath. And so I lived with her till I finished beauty school.
Now, when did you get married?
I was 17, so when was that? 35?
Where were you at then?
At Wheeler.
Oh, at Wheeler. Was this after you went back?
Yeah.
Now, did you and your husband return to Butte then?
Temporarily,
And where did you live at the time?
God, the Cabbage Patch.
And what was the Cabbage Patch like?
Oh, it's terrible. Just a bunch of old shacks, outdoor plumbing.
Did it have paved streets?
Oh yeah, I was just down in Arizona, it was in town.
Did you mention to me one time that Butte was one of the first places you had seen paved streets?
Not me.
Oh, okay, that's somebody else then. Now, when you say that but the houses in the Cabbage Patch did not have toilets?
They had outdoor plumbing. It was plumbing, but it was outdoors. All the houses at one time had a coal shed on the back, on the alley. Well, it seems to me there was a coal shed and a toilet. In my mind, that's what I can remember.
But there was no indoor?
No. Well, we had running water in the houses, but no baths or anything like that.
No bathroom, no bathtub. How was the water heated and the homes heated?
I'll tell you, there was just an old coal stove in the in the kitchen, a range, and I don't remember offhand. I don't think I had a water heater. Must have had to heat it in a kettle or something.
Was each house individual, or were they a row of houses?
Well, they were separate, but they were in a row. They weren't attached to one another.
Oh. And were they one floor?
Oh, yeah.
Was that most of the houses in the Cabbage Patch? Were there any apartments or?
Not to my knowledge. I don't remember that. That was my only experience in the Cabbage Patch, and I didn't check it out too thoroughly.
And there was a coal bin in back?
A what?
A coal bin?
Yeah, I think, that's where your coal was delivered.
What were shotgun houses?
They were where you could right straight through. Everything was in a row. Living room. In this house, there was a living room, bedroom, and kitchen.
So are most houses shotgun houses?
Those were shotgun houses, yeah.
3 rooms in a row.
Yeah.
Did you eventually build a bathroom into a kitchen?
Not me. I can stay there.
don't.
Two that I was there, oh, a month maybe.
Well, who was the Sweet Jerry Lee Coal Company?
Oh, that. Well, I don't know where you got the kitchen and the bathroom part, but that was at 537 South Dakota Street, and my father had a still in the cellar there. But that was, oh heck, I was still in grade school then. That was the winter of 30 and 31.
Oh. And who was Sweet Jerry Lee Coal Company?
That was a coal company, and we sang a little song, Sweet Jerry Lee, you bring my coal to me, you charge me $12.50, Sweet Jerry Lee. The first singing commercial.
Ask her about, what was the flag?
He was mostly in real estate, as I go. They were fairly wealthy people.
Okay, we'll go on. You lived in Butte?
Yeah, when I came here, they were.
Everything was paid. Do you remember the automobiles or any particular cars that you remember?
Well, I remember that real flying cloud. That was quite the auto. Light blue, everything going. And his brother drove a LaSalle, which was a pretty fancy outfit in its day, too.
Who were these people?
The Curtises?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that these Curtis Block and some of these buildings around here were that family.
Oh.
Johnny had a daughter, he was a widower, and her name was Rita. I have no idea where she is now. I saw her once when I had come back to Butte and was working at the Finland. I ran into her there. And where she is now or anything about her, I don't know. But he had an office right there on Hamilton, up from the Hamilton block. Just a little hole in the wall there in one of those, that building that where Mrs. Pitcairn had her establishment.
Was there natural gas in Butte when you came here?
It was being put in when I got here. Well, they put it in after I got here. It was the early 30s. They were digging the street up then.
You know, going back to the speakeasy, you mentioned that there was a big table in the dining room.
Yeah.
Was the rest of the house, were there couches and chairs and things like that for people to sit around and lounge?
There was one couch, kind of one of those studio couches, I think they called them, in the living room. That's where the music box was. And they danced in there.
Oh, they did dance in there?
Oh, yeah. But around the table were just chairs, you know.
Were there any B-girls?
Not so to speak. I mean, there were girls that come up there and hung out. Of course, they were meeting guys, and guys were meeting girls and what have you. That's what it amounted to.